Welcome to episode 1 of our project here in Sedgwick, Central Victoria, Australia. I'm David Millard from EcoWise Home, and he is...
I'm Anthony from Outlier. Please come and join us on our first episode of this series of our project here as we dive into, I suppose, the exceptional details that we've provided to see how far we can push the boundaries of conventional construction and methodology and materials to achieve high performance outcomes. This is going to be a really amazing journey, and we want you all to come along and join us. So the client's brief was pretty much singled around where he grew up in rural Queensland and had shearing sheds and farm sheds, and he really wanted to replicate that and implement that in his home design. So it was a bit of a nostalgic aspect to where he grew up. A big part of this was we have views to Mount Alexander out here on the southwesterly, and we've also got prevailing breezes that come through that we want to try and capture to provide some cross-flow ventilation. The aspect that we can see is off to the east beyond us here. Amazing views. It's just something that we had to capture, and it kind of provided a bit of a constraint in how we were going to place the building on the site. So rather than having the long axis facing north-south, we've actually got it facing east-west with a gable end on the left-hand side of the building footprint here facing north directly. And we've also got a couple of little areas that jut out that face north. That's allowing us to try and bring northern light into the building further down the form on that easterly side. But yeah, there's no denying the views here. They're absolutely breathtaking, almost 360 degrees. Alongside some of the site analysis constraints, such as the prevailing wind patterns and the northerly aspect, we also have some constraints on the tidal. And one of those being that there's an unused government road that continues right along the front of the building form here, and we've built right to the edge of that. Further to that, we actually spent a day here early with the client, Dave, myself and the team, driving around trying to find the ideal house site. And it was after sort of exploring along the creek flats and everywhere else, it was determined this would be the best place just due to access. So we've decided to put that here for access purposes, as well as we've also got the constraints of an unused government road. And just to clarify, that means we can't run services through this road at all. So we've had to keep our septic system and effluent fields over to the side here, as well as our potable water supply, which we're using rainwater tanks to supply. And this home's also going to be off-grid. So we have an off-grid solar system that'll be located on the shed, be powering this home. We also had some town planning constraints, so this is in a fairly significant bushfire risked area, or what they've known as a bushfire management overlay. So we're dealing with a BEL 29 compliance here. So the home is mostly built and clad in non-combustible materials. We also have an environmental significance overlay, which means that we've got to be really careful about the location and placement of the septic system and ensuring that the water that's coming from that into the effluent field is of a high quality and isn't going to cause any issues into the catchment areas downstream. There's a significant amount of trees around the site as well, which we wanted to try and maintain. We also wanted to interact with those. So beyond this, we can see that we're almost looking into the tree canopies, which was another big part of where we placed the glazing. We really wanted to try and capture the views, but also minimise the amount of glazing to the south and the west. So we've got a huge amount to the north and then along this east side as well. And I think it'd be great if we can just walk through the plan now and just talk about the locations of the building here and what rooms are what and yeah, how that came to be. So one of the biggest successes that we had here was having the team together from pretty much day one of the design. Working alongside David and our engineer Andrew, we had some great success outcomes here to maintain and keep budget aligned, as well as, I guess, the constructability. So can you explain a bit more, David, about the consultation service you offer? Yep. And maybe some examples of what some of those achievements were?
Yeah, so the premier consultation service I offer is really important, I believe, in the pre-construction process, that one for buildability, but also costings. Like a lot of people work off square metre rates for costings, which, don't get me wrong, they do serve a purpose within the industry, but no one knows the prices of a project better than the builder itself that would potentially build that project. So I did what my first round of pricing on this project is I call a feasibility costing. The client was happy where everything was at. They progressed through to get some preliminary engineering, which Andrew provided. And part of that is that I'll actually look over that. There's a few things I saw in there that I hadn't allowed in my initial feasibility costing that I felt that was, going to add a lot of cost to the project. So it was a simple matter of contacting Anthony and Andrew, the engineer, and saying, hey guys, like, this isn't something I haven't allowed for. What can we do to change this? And it was a simple matter of the three of us putting our heads together. In this project, there was some exposed timber trusses that were meant to go in. There was just interchange them and have some timber portals, and that removed all that extra steel work, which I believed, reduced the cost of the project by $50,000 potentially. So I believe the service offer to the client has returned that tenfold.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And I'll always say, as a designer, we certainly are not those who are privy to costings, and any designer that says they are, I'd be wary of. That's always going to be a builder's profession and expertise. So always reach out to a builder as early as you can in a project, if especially to keep that budget aligned. There was also some plywood, I think, that was removed from the from the roof as well. So we're able to remove quite a few components just by changing those exposed timber trusses to an exposed timber portal.
Definitely something that can't be done with the old-fashioned process of design, bid and build. That's something you need everyone, the engineer, the designer and the builder, all working together to get the best outcome for the client.
And I will just mention McClure Engineering, Andrew from McClure is who we worked with on this project, and I couldn't recommend their services highly enough either. So we're just standing in the front entry into the home, and a big part of this was to have sight lines continually through this home, and we've aligned all of the windows, internal doors on both sides, so that at all areas of this home, as you're walking through, you can see straight through to the views on either side. That also allows to assist with the cross-flow ventilation to assist in cooling the home down in the hotter months. As we come into this space here, we have a circulation area, and this is where a day bed is going to be situated, with glazing to the north and to the east that again captures those views out to the mountains beyond and the hills beyond. From here we walk into the open plan living, and this is where the exposed timber portal frames will be, with an entire north facade of glazing, kitchen and pantry to my left here, dining, and then the living. And that will have direct access out to the outdoor alfresco and veranda area. That's also going to have a timber pergola that will be shading and protecting that to the north, and then some deciduous vegetation onto the east. This little jut out here is going to be a concealed outdoor kitchen. So we can always take in the views out to the east whilst enjoying that outdoor entertainment area. So we're up the other end of the house on the south end, and this is where the master ensuite and walk-in robe will be, which is adjacent to an outdoor shower. So again, the views had to be sort of maximised here, looking straight out to the east, and also having that outdoor shower is completely exposed to the surrounding views and tree line. Moving forward, we've got the second and third bedroom, and that is connected by a passageway that goes to the master. And then beyond that, we also have another little jut out on day bed. And this is a little breakout space that sort of adjoins the second and third bedroom. So children can kind of have this social kind of area in which to sort of play together. It's also going to have a little tiny wood heater in this location. So it's a bit of a chill out spot. They get to, I guess, have those really nice family moments in this area. And then as we come forward a bit further, we're sort of now going into where the bathroom, laundry is just behind us as well. And there's going to be full height sliding doors in this location. This is going to be a bit of a multi-purpose space that adjoins the entry, so we can open that right up and have a large circulation space, including the passage, this multi-purpose room, the entry and the day bed, or they can be closed up and it can be used as a home office space. That'll all be facing to the west as well, having views out there to Mount Alexander, but there's also going to be external movable sliding steel screens, corten screens, that'll be able to block that off when we need it to be shaded in the hotter months in the summer. I think from here we're going to get into some of the really finer details and the construction details and make this a really unique project. So just to expand a bit further on the reasons why we have this XPS insulation on the slab edges and completely and continuously under the slab itself, is to stop the thermal mass of the concrete, or the heat that would be contained within the thermal mass of the concrete being able to leach into the ground freely. So the ground temperatures that we have here in this location in central Victoria are actually quite a lot less than what the indoor temperature is going to be. And with that heat drive, so the warmth within the home is going to try and get to the cold air outside, or the colder ground temperatures. We're now stopping that from occurring, or reducing it drastically from occurring and slowing it down. And when we do our analysis on this, it's very evident when we see up to a 10 or 12 degree difference from just introducing this XPS insulation in the slab temperatures. So they'll feel nice and toasty underfoot, even in the cooler months of winter.
So once again, a highly detailed project like this is, I want to make sure all the surfaces are concealed within the wall frames. So that's a matter of arranging an electrician to come install what we call a hockey stick in the slab. So that goes down, then back out there about half a metre. That way the electricians can access that once they come to connect the power to the solar system and battery system out here. As we mentioned, it's 100% off grid. So yeah, that's all going to be concealed within the wall frames, and we've done the same with the water. That way, we don't have any pipe protruding. It's all about that attention to detail and being a bit of forward thinking with the project.
So due to the length of the slab of this home, we've got to have a cold joint in this. I think it's over 30 metres.
That's right.
And we've decided to be very selective of where we locate this. So this is along a bedroom and wall separating to the study area here, which means that only the small portion of the passageway will actually expose that joint.
Yep.
Can I just get you to walk through some of the details, David, of how you've achieved that, and how, maybe the methodology of, like, do you pull this out once you've put concrete in, or how does this work?
Yep, so just to start off, the cold joint will be on a finished concrete slab that's burnished finished on this project. It will just be a nice little polyurethane bead, 3 or 4 millimetres wide, very minimal, climb hardly know, but obviously it serves a purpose with expansion and that. So the engineers requested 20mm dowel rods at 300mm centres, and that's going to be greased one side. So the purpose of greasing it one side is they do want that slab to move laterally, but yeah, not up and down. So that's the whole purpose of it. And yeah, we just got the 300mm edge beam either side of it to strengthen it up. This form ply is all boxed up, so it's dead straight. It's been designed that we'll pour this side of the slab first, and then the day we pour it, we'll dismantle all this, and then we'll just pour directly up against the concrete the next day. Yeah, great.
I can see we follow around this external footing, and it's all the XPS insulation fully encapsulates that, but you've got these thickenings happening here.
Yep.
Can I get you to walk through what's occurring here, David?
Yep. So structurally for this project, originally that's where I spoke about earlier, that we had the timber portal frames steel portal frames going right over the top. But to substitute them, we come up with a solution of timber portal frame. So our wall frame sits out here, and then inside that there's a 330 by 120 wide timber portal frame going up the wall, across the pit rake ceiling, and then down the other side. So the foundation underneath that is to take that support and weight of it. And then across here, you see this piece of timber. This has been recessed in the slab, so that's where our lift and slide door is going to go. The purpose of recessing the slab is just to create a minimal threshold in and out. To work out the location of that, it needs a bit of forward thinking. That I've come here on site, we've got to set these recessed doors in. I need to mark out where my portals are, take into consideration where that timber portal will be finishing, which I've marked down the boxing slab, and then marked out over here where the frame's sitting, 140mm frame, take into consideration 10mm plaster, then I've centered that door in the center of it. So it's just not as simple as walking straight up and screwing something to the side of your boxing. You need a bit of forward thinking and make sure you take everything in consideration.
Yeah, it's great, and I love how this increases the durability of the door system as well, because now we have essentially what we call a back dam. So any water that would make its way onto the external paving here and join the slab or the door where the door's located here, it can't actually just flow straight into the home. It's actually got that rebate, so any moisture that would find its way on that door or down in that door frame actually will flow then out and have a means and a way.
And we do waterproof it too, so that moisture is not going to soak up for the slab and that. So
fantastic, yeah.
So the boys just got a couple more things to finish off here, and the concrete's booked in for tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Yeah, it's really appreciate everyone. This is episode 1 of a 6-part series that we're going to do on this particular project. So please just keep an eye out. We'll keep everyone posted on socials as to when these episodes are going to be released. But yeah, join us for the next one where we dive into the timber framing of this project.